Hey, I'm Alec. I am the founder of Mañana. I make surfboards and wake surfboards, and we do some clothing. I'm here at Huckberry's Gear Lab doing the everyday carry. Mañana is a surf and wake surf company based out of Austin, Texas. The name Mañana is kind of a joke in some ways in Mexico. That's where I was making boards for Mañana, but it doesn't mean tomorrow like you might think. It can mean later, like in a week. The term mañana didn't mean as fast approaching as I thought. I started making surfboards around 10 years ago, meant to be a hobby, kind of a fun thing to do in college. And as I kept making boards, I kept getting more and more interested in it. So I made a van store and a boat store, slowly selling boards and some clothing, and kind of built from there. Today, I'm gonna show you some of the tools I use when I hand shape surfboards. So let's get into it. All right, so most important is the planer. This is a Clark modified Hitachi. This is the main tool when hand shaping a board. It's modified to be able to cut really deep. You can see how that adjusts. They don't make tools much for surfboard makers, so we tend to have to modify them. Because that's the case, I think you have to be able to work with a bunch of different tools to get what you want. With this planer, this one being my favorite, I've shaped boards for Dr. Pepper, Taco Bell, some really good surfers, a lot of my favorite personal boards. And recently I've been shaping agave boards, and this thing does great for it. Next are some headphones. These are 3M. I'm not sure the model. They are battery powered, which is great, so you don't have to charge them. I've had these for probably 6-7 years. They're not the most attractive headphone. They look like you're doing yard work or something. They are Bluetooth. Yeah. I can't hear anything except for the music. But yeah, a must-have in hand shaping because the tools are loud, and these things are pretty durable, so you can kind of just throw them around. All right, next is my mask. Kind of a standard 3M mask, except I've modified this. These are gas filters, so the fumes don't bother your lungs, and then these are dust. So you kind of get both. Making surfboards is not the healthiest occupation. You have the dust from the surfboard blank that's kind of going everywhere. There's a gas that comes out of EPS foam, which is what I shape. This kind of does a good job of protecting me from all of those. And yeah, goes like that. My strap broke the other day though, so I got to figure that out, but can't throw this one away because I've made hundreds, maybe thousands of boards with this mask. All right. Next, we have the sanding block. It's really cool. It's flexible, so you can like sand a curve if there's a concave or what have you, but it stays pretty flat if you want it to be flat. You can change the sandpaper, but 60 grit is mostly what I use on this thing. This is maybe one of the more strenuous tools used when shaping. And so 1 month I shaped, I think it was like 73 boards in 2 weeks. And this is one of the main things you're doing. By doing that, I tore my rotator cuff in my right arm, and then I'd use the left hand and tore that one. So kind of then had a moment of, I gotta find something else. So toured some glass shops in Southern California, didn't really like them. So I drove south to Baja and fell in love with kind of everything that area has to offer. And then I partnered up with some surfboard makers down there and started making boards, not have my production solely relying on me. All right, next is a saw from Japan. The Japanese have a great focus on craft. This is really great at cutting the tail shape into a board. It's done great at what I needed to do, cut through foam or wood, and yeah, just a fun saw to use. Next, I have a planer. This one's pretty cool. Honestly, I like the colors. You use this when you're shaping a board with a stringer in it. It's a strip of wood that goes right down the center of the blank. It's typically there so your board doesn't snap. And so when you're shaping it, you need a planer like this to take just the edge off of the surface, because you want the stringer resting right below the foam so that when you glass it and then start using it, the stringer doesn't slowly kind of pop through and create a crack in the fiberglass. Okay, this is a spoke shave. This one's pretty cool. It's typically for the nose, as there's a big curve up. This guy won't fit. So you have to use one like this that's kind of meant for a tighter surface. This is just more for detail or around a tail or something. These are my scissors. They're from Sheffield, England, and they're serrated, so they don't need sharpening. All of Mañana's boards are carbon fiber and Kevlar. They're definitely lighter than the competition. Carbon fiber is great at flexing and then snapping back to shape. So our boards definitely feel a lot livelier in the water. You gotta have a good pair of scissors because when cutting carbon fibers, Kevlars, fiberglasses, you will not get anywhere along with a subpar pair of scissors. So these are crucial. These are actually on the smaller end of what I have, but these are some of my favorites. All right, next I have a combination square or speed square. This is cool. You can adjust this and then set it where you want. You can even, this little pointy bit that you can take out and mark so you don't see a pencil line. It's a cool level on here. Your table's pretty level. Maybe if there's like a tail block or something on a board, I'd use this. Definitely something that's in the shaving bay. This is a ruler that I really like from Woodcraft. It has got millimeters on this side and even half millimeters. And then on this side, it's inches and it's up to 64ths of an inch measurements. So makes all of the fine measurements you have to do really easy. Being really accurate is super important because yeah, it all affects how the board rides in the end. This is a cool pencil that a good friend of mine got me in Mexico City. Pretty standard work pencil. You can throw it in your hat. You can do it with a razor blade, but because this thing's metal, it does it all the same. It's how to sharpen a pencil with a ruler. Saving the best for last, but this is a razor blade. Pretty standard one. When you're glassing a surfboard, this has so many uses in making a surfboard. If you have tape and you want a clean line, you can tear it against the razor blade. You can scrape and it'll remove resin, paint, whatever. Really helpful in getting you a really clean line. Super important. I think what is so interesting about surfboards to me is you can't just make boards that look good. You're not gonna really make it far. The board has to look good, but also perform. There's such a challenge, especially when hand shaping. A lot of what you're doing right that second really affects 10, 15 steps down the process. So you have to really think through the whole thing. And in the end, if it all works out, it comes together, the board looks great, rides great. And if not, maybe it doesn't. But that's part of the fun, is the challenge and being able to kind of like zone out and just focus on this one thing. Makes it a fun job. Now we've gone through a lot of the tools I use when making a surfboard, but another part of my day-to-day is the less cool office work. So I'll show you all what I carry around on a typical day. This is a bag we made with Mañana. It's really cool. It's like a washable paper. It's almost like leather, but it's definitely paper. Instead of shipping our surfboards in a bunch of bubble wrap or plastic wrap or whatever, we ship them in a reusable bag, and then we ship them inside of a bigger bag like this. So some of the totes we're making are from those recycled bags. Part of that sustainability is making more durable boards, is hopefully less surfboards end up in a landfill. And then I think you can eliminate a lot by just making, a reusable bag, also your packaging. So that's what we're trying to do different, is just be a kind of a eco-friendly surf brand, if that's possible. All right, first off is the computer. Use this thing a lot of Illustrator, some video editing here and there. This thing's a workhorse, and I use it all the time. Gotta have that everywhere I go. Second is a journal I got in Japan. I use it every day, and I got 2 of them to hold me over until I go back to Tokyo. And I got a June's pen to go with it. I really like these restaurant pens. I started using them because pens work pretty well on EPS foam, and these ones, the way they kind of like curve near the end, when you're on a straight edge trying to trace something, it doesn't push the mark out to the side. You can kind of get right up on it, and they typically come free with a good meal, so can't beat free. Definitely something I like having on me are some flavored toothpicks. These ones are mint flavored, so I don't chew on pens or something else. I get toothpicks. Definitely a must-have. And then I got some sunglasses. I left my last pair on a flight, so I got some Amazon ones. Last but not least, I'll show you what I carry in my pockets. First, I have some keys. I have a Bare Goods clip, which I sometimes use. It's seen some better days because it used to be red and blue. Now it's brown. I have a floating keychain. Although I think these are too heavy to float, it helps me find them and gives me something to hold on to because I'll lose them. Next, I have my phone, and I am a wallet on the phone kind of guy. So I used to have a big passport wallet that I would carry around, and I kept losing it. That was a little too sketchy for me, so I kind of figured all in one place, I'll be able to keep track of it. So far, I've lost less of these than sunglasses, so that's a win. And last but not least are some AirPods. Use these more often than these. They're dead, so won't be using them anytime soon. So that's it. That is everything I carry, whether it be making surfboards or working around the office. Seeing this feels like a lot. Obviously I don't carry this around with me everywhere, but it's interesting to see both worlds together. I don't know that I've ever seen it that way. If you would have asked me 15 years ago if this was what I would have as my job or carry every day, I don't know if I would have believed you, but it's cool. I feel like each one has a story. Well, that's it. Check out mañana.co or online at Huckberry. And until next time, we'll see you out there.